13 things to do by the time you're 25. Because so often, we come to university and what's expected of us?
Get grades.
What?
Get grades.
Get grades.
Find a job.
Find a job.
Graduate.
Graduate. Yeah, that's what parents want.
Move out eventually.
Move out eventually. What else from you? Going to college.
Get
Be a
involved.
millionaire.
Be a millionaire. I mean, there are expectations of us, right? That we need to fulfill while we're here. And so often, and I just hit return.
Yeah.
Okay. And so often we don't have a chance to be able to do some of the other things. So I'm going to try and get you out of that little box that we're all put in when we're college freshmen with the expectations our professors, administrators, parents, and even ourselves have on us for what we should be doing. And I like this Jim Rohn quote, for things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. For things to improve, you have to improve. And when you grow, everything in your life grows with you. And that's why I want some experience tonight to get you out of your normal little realm. Is that okay? I've got 13 things here, and I'm going to go through them kind of quick. Can take some notes. The first one is to network your way to success. And when you go to events, you could call this a networking event. Who's here for the first time tonight? Anybody? No? Second time. Okay. So you're still getting to know people, aren't you? It's all about networking. So when you go to events, whether they're here, it's a career fair, it's another organization, whatever it means, be poised, be polished, and be professional. And one of the things that I'd like you to be able to do is to answer this question fairly succinctly. What do you do? What do you do? You don't have to answer that right now, but I'd like you to think about it. Because we all do different things. We're a student, we're a family member, we may be a worker, we may be in intramurals, we've got all kinds of things that we are, and sometimes we need to wrap that all into one little 30-second elevator pitch about who we are. That really comes into play when you go to a career fair and you walk up to that table and here's this employer behind the table and says, so basically, why are you here? What do you got to say? You want to have that and you want to practice it so that you're real comfortable in what it is you've got to say about yourself. I'd always take notes. Whatever you're doing as far as networking with people, take notes. Take notes tonight. Because there might just be something here that's a little valuable, and 2 weeks from now you're going to say, what was it that Brigham guy said? He said something about networking, and I should have taken some notes. And it's amazing how far we want to go back to some of those things. I'd get business cards made. You never know when you can use a business card. And it may say student, it may be entrepreneur, it may be, you can fill that in with whatever it is you'd like, but you'd be amazed how many people would like your business card even as a freshman. Who's a freshman in here? Yeah, several. Even as a freshman in college. And like Vista prints and some of those, you can get them basically done for free. And they're a cool thing to have. Let's move then to number 2. Prepare for jobs. Delete the dirt. Do you know where that dirt is? It's called social media. Those employers, when they're looking to hire college graduates, are really turned off by alcoholic endeavors, escapades, those of a sexual nature, bad grammar, bad English, bad behavior. So think about what it is you've got out there for yourself in terms of social media. As you're preparing for jobs, don't sweat the first job. It's not going to be your last. Very, very few people are only going to have one job in their entire lifetime. So when you get that first job, just do the best you can. Some people will ask me from time to time, well, how long should I stay with this employer? How long should I stay in this job? And one of my answers is often, until you retire or until you die. Because what you have with that kind of an attitude is a long-term perspective. Instead of, well, I'm just going to go do this job for a year and then I'll move on to another one and then I'll move on to another one, then I'll move on to another one. But as you develop that long-term mentality, you look at people different. You look at your tasks differently and you perform better and you have much better relationships with people. Last thing, master the handshake. That was a good handshake. That was a good handshake. That was a good handshake. Anybody know what you call this? We got biology majors in here. Huh? Well, I'm going to make a name for it then if nobody knows here. It's called fludge.
Oh, yeah.
Fludge. So when you shake someone's hand, what I want you to do is be fludge to fludge. Fludge to fludge. Exactly. Because some of those are like these things. Is that a business handshake? No. You want to, so as you do that, dive in for the full handshake. Yeah, fludge to fludge. And for the females, because not all males know for sure about how to do this handshaking thing and you want to make them more comfortable, so females, offer your hand first. Just, there, good. You learned something there. Offer your hand first, and then it takes some of the tenseness away from that awkward meeting situation. Third, know how to sell. We all have to sell things. We all have to sell ideas. What else do we have to sell?
Yourself.
Yourself, absolutely. Whether it's to a professor. Anybody tried to get a date here without selling yourself? Kind of have to do that, don't you? To an employer at a later time, whether you're a teacher, you're an accountant, you're an engineer, we all have to be able to sell ourselves. There's a statistic that 48% of college graduates within 3 years of graduation are either in sales or have done sales. Within 3 years of graduation, 48% of college graduates are either in sales or have done sales within that 3-year period. That's almost half. Would it be worth it to develop some sales skills for you? Yeah, I think so. Also, if we look at Monster or any of those job boards, typically at any one time, 28% of the jobs listed on those job boards are in
Sales.
sales. Absolutely. So somewhere between 1 in 2 and 1 in 3 of those are all in sales. There's a lady by the name of Kate McKeon, who's CEO of a company called PrepWise, and they help students get ready for tests, big tests. And she suggests trying for a commission-only job when you're in college to get the full experience. And what she says, it's brutal to get rejected over and over, but you'll learn to persevere and you'll figure out how to be successful. Persevere and be successful. Sales, sales, sales. So as you go about your experience in college, if you've got an opportunity to learn some sales, it just might be worth it. Number 4, take an improv class. Anybody done an improv class? Hermie has, 3, 4 people, 5 people.
What's
Excellent.
Improv.
Hermie, what's an improv class?
It's a comedy where you just go with it.
Okay, and
Yeah, you
go ahead.
Improvise your action.
Okay, and add to that,
Thinking and adapting at the moment.
and acting in the moment, according to maybe what somebody's telling you to do. Eric, add to that?
Usually improvisational comedy centers around yes and. So
Okay.
you take what other people are doing and you create something out of it just randomly.
We all need to be able to listen more carefully And then it helps us build on the ideas of others. So there's that yes and. And then sometimes you're given a problem situation that you need to solve or you need to act out. And sometimes those can be relatively risky. And we all get thrown into those. So a great opportunity to learn and grow. Mind your manners and your dress. So here's a situation. You're at a table, a round table. There are 9 of you with place settings all the way around this table. And that means you're fairly close to each other. And you sit down and you have your plate in front of you. You have a little plate to your left and a little plate to your right. It's called the bread plate. Is the one on the left yours or the one on the right?
Right.
The right was one guess. That was a guess. No, you can't have both. The plate on your left is where the bread goes. Want to know how to remember that? Anybody want a new BMW? So that you have your bread on the left, your meal in front of you, and your wine or your water on the right. Very quick, easy little way to remember. It's often confusing. You sit down at that round table and everybody, well, which do I put my bread on? The left or the right? So now you know, BMW. When women typically walk into a room and there are some guys sitting there, do you know what they look at often first?
Their hair.
Their hair is one good answer. It's not the answer I'm looking for.
Smile.
Pardon me?
Smile.
Oh, smile is very important, but it's still not the answer I'm looking for.
Well dressed there.
Shoes. They look to see if the shoes are shined of the guys that are wearing them. Or if you're like mine, I was told I needed to kind of be here for Aztec red and black, and so we put some shoelaces and some red socks on, you know. But it's the shoes. So guys polish the shoes. Now I know it doesn't work for those and other tennis shoes and those, but when you're dressing up, make sure you include the shoes. When we talk about etiquette, how about cell phones? What's some etiquette about cell phones that you could pass along?
Oh, don't text when you're trying to talk to someone.
Don't text when you're trying to talk to someone. Thank you. And where else is a good one not to text?
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, absolutely, when you're driving. I think the biggest thing is if you walk into a restaurant and you watch different people sitting around, and so often here it may be a husband and wife, it may be a couple out on a date, it may be whatever, and both of them are sitting there texting. Not to each other usually, although sometimes across the table they're still texting to each other. So remember to learn the manners, real important. Next is to travel abroad. Now we had some ideas there when Peter was talking about where you might want to, or Hermie, where you might want to go if you had that full week. What I'd like to do is go around and just get a sense of where have people been already. So raise your hand if you've been abroad, and I'm going to call on you, and I want you to say a country, and we'll keep going around until you can't repeat the same country. Okay? Mohammed.
Emirates.
Emirates.
England.
England. Hermie. Yeah.
China.
China. Switzerland. Philippines. Japan. Jamaica.
Brazil.
Brazil.
France.
Thailand. It's really fun to get an idea of where people have traveled to. And I'm going to come back to this travel a little bit when we get down to goals. But think about that. You know, you had the question tonight, if you could travel for a week, expenses paid anywhere, where would you want to go? And not a person said another state or city in the United States. Everything was abroad. So we have that desire to travel abroad. Let's just see where it can take us and make it happen. So another thing by the age 25 is adopt a cause you believe in. You know, Southwestern Advantage, the company I work for, has something called Share the Advantage of working with underprivileged children and those in schools, both in this country and done some work in Mexico as well, Canada as well. Habitat for Humanity. Who is involved in some more kinds of opportunities?
I've done that.
Habitat, done that, okay.
I've done that in Brazil as well.
Okay. Did it abroad then, okay. Anybody else, Hermie? You had another one? They're great to get involved in. So think of something that you can invest your energy in giving back to others. And then we have to invest in ourselves. We've heard of tithing. I'm sure you know the tithing, the 10%. But it's also crucial to give 10% to yourself. Invest in yourself. These could be seminars, webinars, books, CDs, DVDs, audio programs, whatever they may be, but to invest in yourself. You know, a great life coach that I read a lot, Robin Sharma, says that for every dollar you spend investing in yourself, it comes back 30 times. Does that sound like it'd be worth it? 30 times that comes back to you. Also thinking about taking someone influential to lunch. That could be someone here at the university. It could be someone back home in your community that you want to learn to be more successful. Who's successful in your community? Who's successful in the university community? And have a conversation with them and make sure you have some questions. That's back to the networking thing of what can you ask them, what it is you'd like to learn. And what are you going to do when you're asking them questions? You're going to take notes. Remember that part? We're going to take notes. Next is to listen. I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You don't know everything. None of us do. And as the Dalai Lama says, when you talk, you're only repeating what you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. And I think it's real important to listen for what's not being said as well as what's being said. Listen between the words. Listen behind the words. One of the techniques I like when I'm interviewing somebody with a series of questions is I count on my fingers, say below the table, to 3 or to 5. Because generally when I ask that first question, I don't know that the first answer out of your mouth is really the real answer. It might just be what's off the top of your head. And if I just go on to the next question without giving you a chance to really think and come back with maybe the real answer, I'm never going to hear it. So give people an opportunity to think for 3 to 5 seconds after they've already finished the first answer. Test your comfort zone. Learn to advocate for yourself. Learn to talk to the boss. I like this. The more experiences you expose yourself to, the higher probability you'll find one that you're passionate about. So think what you've done today to get out of your comfort zone. Anybody got something you did today to get out of your comfort zone? How about this week? Because I'm not going to stop. How about this month? That's early in the month. How about last month? What you do to get out of your comfort zone?
I'm not American, I'm Brazilian.
Okay.
So I joined an organization that debates political stuff. So it's challenging for me because it's challenging because of the language.
Okay. Language and political beliefs and of others. Okay.
I went to a business seminar by myself.
Okay, all by yourself, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And it wasn't as scary when you got there as you thought it might be.
I think just the hardest thing was just trying to network with people,
Okay.
and because that was my first time ever doing a seminar, so I just didn't really know exactly what to do. But
What it was
learned,
like.
so.
And now you'd go back again.
Yeah.
And you'd go back to your group again. So think about something that's going to take you out of your comfort zone. Robin Sharma says, change is hard at first. It's messy in the middle and beautiful at the end. Because that was beautiful at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was beautiful at the end. But we didn't know that going in because it was a little hard. We didn't know what this seminar was going to be like. How am I supposed to dress? How am I supposed to act? Who am I supposed to talk to? All of those kinds of things. Set goals and accomplish them. We talked a little bit ago about the travel abroad. I'm going to give it to you now in a more concrete manner. If you're really thinking about doing some things, setting goals, getting out of your comfort zone, traveling abroad's a good example. I hear a lot of people use the word bucket list. You heard the term bucket list? Well, as you get my age and you get a little closer to kicking that bucket time, you change the name. So I call it the awesome life list now. It's things that I want to do in my life at some stage. And this awesome life list has 3 parts to it. The first part is that I'd like you to write down 30 things that you'd like to do in your lifetime. That could involve travel, could involve graduating from the university, whatever that may be. 30 things you want to do in your lifetime. The second is 30 things you'd like to have in your lifetime. That new Ferrari would be kind of nice in the garage. Or a boat, sailboat, or I don't know, you can fill in the gaps. And here's the more difficult. 30 things that you'd like to be in your lifetime. So 30 things you want to do in your lifetime, 30 things you want to have in your lifetime, and 30 things you'd like to be. The best spouse, the best father, a clergyman in your church, a teacher, a mentor to somebody, the best friend. I don't care. You can fill in those gaps. But think about that, of what you'd like to be. And as you set those goals, one of the practices I coach people to do is on Sunday sit down and write down 3 things you commit to do this next week, no matter what. If you want to get things done in your life, you want to succeed, you want to have successes, every Sunday sit down and write out 3 things you commit to do that next week, no matter what. Because when we set a goal, if we come pretty close to it, we're typically happy. I almost made my goal. But when it gets with the no matter what, now it's impacting our integrity. And we don't want to have our integrity messed with, do we? We don't want to have our integrity messed with. So as you do that, think of those 3 things on a Sunday that you commit to do this next week, no matter what, and you will accomplish incredible things in your lifetime. The last thing about setting goals has to do with the people you hang around with. And if you're the smartest one of your friends, somebody finish that sentence for me.
In the wrong group.
You're in the wrong group. You need new friends. It's been said by several different people that the success you're going to enjoy in your life are going to be due to the books you read and the people you hang around with. Charlie Tremendous Jones said that. Jim Rohn said that you will become the average of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. So set your goals and see where it is they can take you. Next, become financially savvy. If you're worried about your money, what I would suggest, track your expenses for 1 week. Every penny that you spend. How much you're eating out, how much on food, fun, entertainment, gas, aside from those things that, we all have to have, like, pay the rent or pay the electricity and things like that, the tuition, etc. And then once you've done that, you can set a budget. Maybe I really can't afford to spend X amount of dollars eating out every day. Maybe I need to bring a lunch, carrots, celery, sandwich, whatever, to school with me because I can't afford that. Another challenge would be for you to calculate your net worth. And it's a great time to do it when you're in college because typically, do you have a big net worth at this point in time? No. No, you're right. So look at where you are right now. You know, at the end of every year, my wife and I do that. Where are we in terms of what are our assets? How much money do we have on the plus side? What are our liabilities? Who do we owe and how much? Subtract that from the assets, and that's our net worth. It's a fabulous time to start doing that on an annual basis right now because your net worth is going to look horrible. But think 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 years from now, as you see that continue to build, you're going, wow, look where I came from. So just have a little, Excel spreadsheet, put those numbers in there, put a little graph together so that you can watch that hopefully continue to go up every year, until you retire. So I was in Michigan a couple weeks ago and was fascinated because I was talking about retirement. And that's an odd thing to talk about to 19, 20, 21-year-olds. But there were two young men so fascinated by this, and we were talking about compounding interest. We were talking about the rule of 72. And I was showing them this example that if you invest into an IRA, into your retirement account, $2,000 each year from 19 through 25, or 26, it ended up to be 7 years there. So they put in a total of $14,000 and then never invested another penny. And you compare that to someone who doesn't start until age 26, putting in $2,000 every year all the way to age 60. How do you think that those two are going to balance out at age 65 when many people are retiring? Any idea? So you put in $14,000 over here, but you do it earlier, 19 to 25, 26. You put in from 25 to age 60 over here, which was a total of $70,000. Which is going to have more money? Guesses? Pardon me?
The earlier option?
Well, they were both earning.
Earlier option.
The earlier option. Okay. The earlier option. That's the compounding interest. So if you're 19 years of age in here and you can put $2,000 away right now, if you can find a way to earn that money to put it away, when you're my age, you're going to be really happy you did that. I won't be around here to congratulate you for that, but you'll be really happy you invested that amount of money right now at this particular time. Next is relationships. Relationships are so key. I hope you think about investing in others. Appreciate your roommates. Love your parents. Did anybody watch the Oscars a couple weeks ago? And I forget the supporting actor who got up and said, call your parents. Anybody see that? I didn't see it either, but I heard about it. He said, call your parents. He was so proud that he won this Oscar. Don't text them. Don't email them. Call your parents. And talk to them as long as they want to talk to you. I thought that pretty inspirational. We need to have those relationships. When you get to be older, your job's not going to really take care of you when you're sick or when you're ill or you're old or you're retired, but family and friends will. So don't abandon them. Don't lose them. Don't lose the connections that you've got with all of those people. So, there are my 13 habits that I talked about. Things to do, work on by the time you're 25. I have a bonus if anybody's interested in some habits of how to get there. Anybody interested in just a couple bonus slides? So here are some personal habits. First one is wake up early. Wake up consistently early. There are so many good things that happen early in the day. Drink a full glass of water in the morning. You have been dehydrating. Your body has been dehydrating for the last 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 hours, however many. And you need to start it, to rejuvenate your body, to get it going again. So drink that full glass of water. Meditate early in the morning. Pray early in the morning. Make your bed. When you come back to your room then at a later time, it sure looks better to see a made bed than an unmade bed. Set daily goals. Eat a healthy breakfast. Exercise on an almost regular daily basis. both cardio and some resistance, weights or strength bands, whichever. Speak affirmations. Who's got an affirmation they might like to share? A positive affirmation, something that you can say to yourself to bring you up a little bit. Any ideas? Let me share a couple. I am successful. My life is filled with joy and abundance. My potential is limitless. I can achieve anything I desire. I achieve my goals effortlessly. I radiate love and happiness. Are those good statements to start the day out with? Absolutely. Visualize your future. Even if you just take a couple minutes in the morning, close your eyes. What do you want your day to be like? You have a class that day, you have a test, you have a meeting with a professor. How do you want that to go? Visualize it early in the day before it happens. Olympic athletes do this all the time. Football players, basketball players, athletes of all kinds. Speak authentically. Be genuine, be truthful. Get out in the sun, get your vitamin D, even if it's only 15 minutes. Learn to speak publicly. Practice, practice, practice. Keep a journal. And some of you say, well, I don't want to carry around a journal or something like that. You can also use apps on your phone for those, or your iPad. There are some good journal apps. And read. How many read on a daily basis outside of your school? Tell me a book you're reading or have read recently. What you're reading? The Soul of Money and the Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire, Deepak Chopra. Too good. You're reading both of them, huh? Who else is reading? Eric.
I'm reading Mind Wise by Nicholas Epley. It's a behavioral psychology book.
Okay. Mind Waves?
Wise.
Okay. Wise.
I was reading an autobiography of Allen Ginsberg. That's what I'm reading right now.
Okay. Autobiographies are good. Peter?
The Me I Want to Be.
The Me I Want to Be sounds intriguing.
The Outsiders.
What?
The Outsiders.
The Outsider? It's good to have these books. Do you have a set time when you're reading? Really helps if you do. Often if you say, well, I'm going to bed at, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. And everything I read says, these computers, these iPads, these phones, whatever, those rays that they emit keep our brain active, and it takes about an hour for it to calm down, to cool down. And so decide an hour before you're going to bed what that time is. So if you want to have lights out at 11 o'clock, that at 10 o'clock try and shut these electronics off. And then have your rituals, your routine before you go to bed. Let's see, we probably don't have to talk about teeth brushing as a habit, do we? We kind of all got that one down. We may wash our face a little bit, But then it's time for reading. It might be a time for a meditation. It might be time for a prayer. It might be time to express what you're grateful for. And then read for 15, 20, 30 minutes. Some will do that in the evening as well as in the morning. As I said, practice your gratitude. Even if it's just 3 very small things that you're thankful for during the day. I have some people I work with, a coach that literally every night before they go to bed, they send me an email with 3 things they were grateful for that day. They don't have to be profound, they don't have to be lengthy, but just to express what they're grateful for in their lives that day. Really helpful and very useful. Have a mentor or a coach. There's a guy up in Minnesota, Harvey McKay, who is a world-renowned speaker, author, businessman, and he's got more coaches than I can believe. He's got a golf coach. He's got a running coach because he wants to do a marathon. He's got a financial coach. He's got a legal coach. He's got a marriage coach. There are people to help you with all facets of your life. So where you think you need some help, you can have someone help and guide you. It's really good to have a mentor. Get good sleep. That's when we rejuvenate our body. And we need to rejuvenate our body and our brain. And that's also where our subconscious goes to work. Because we set goals on the conscious level, but we achieve them on the subconscious. We can say what we're grateful for before we go to bed. We can visualize what we would like our day to be like. Those are, again, done on the conscious level. But when we go to sleep then at night, that subconscious is working to make it happen. But we need to get good sleep. Forget soda. Soda is horrible. Don't drink soda. Tea, water. Back to the water in the morning. What I read is I should drink a half an ounce of water for every pound that I weigh. So I'm supposed to drink about 90 ounces of water a day. Measure that. Have a spreadsheet. Track it. Check it off. Keep track of it. Because we all need the water. And lastly, smile. It's your logo. It's what people see about you. It's the first thing they see about you. In fact, many would say that it's really the prettiest thing that you have. It's your smile. So, anybody know what those are? They're bamboo trees, aren't they? And so if you plant a Chinese bamboo seed, what happens the first year? Pardon? Nothing. Who said that? Did you say? Nothing. Or very little, maybe a sprout. What happens the second year?
A little bigger.
Yeah, not much. What happens the third year? Nothing. What happens the fourth year? What happens the fifth year? It just grows. It shoots up. In fact, sometimes to a height of 80 feet. But those first 4 years, when all we saw was what's above ground, there was a massive root system being built so that it would hold that 80-foot tree when it grew up. We all have to have that. Those are the habits. Those are the foundation. Those are the things we need to work on so that by the time you are 25, you've had these experiences so you really are ready for the world, whatever that world is for you. But we need to get the foundation. We need to get the roots. So wake up, and I want you to live the life that you live. And I'm reminded of the five frogs sitting on a lily pad. One decided to jump in. How many frogs were left on the lily pad? How many? 4? 4? 4? The answer is 5. Because that first frog only decided to jump off the lily pad. He didn't actually do it. And it's the same with all of you. We often make decisions for something we're going to do, but until we jump off the lily pad, we haven't done it. So if it's these things by age 25, it's some of the habits to think about for you on a daily basis. Take the dive in, jump off the lily pad, and you'll have a great life. Thank you.